Hey folks, Valentin the Mad here, and today we'll be looking at the response mechanics in Ready or Not. We'll begin with the big mutilation. So, for the bomb vest, you have the character vaporized and what will remain is the head and 4 limbs, as well as a bloodstain. Considering the fact you had the whole character just vaporized, this is a very underwhelming amount of mess. Unfortunately, the other type of big mutilation isn't much better. If you remember the dismemberment mod I covered about a year ago, it basically activated a work in progress dismemberment function. Well, what happened is that this function, and I don't think it was changed very much at all, was put into the main game. And it still feels very incomplete. So, you have 1 point of amputation per limb and the head can get destroyed. You will have the arterial bleeding activated for it, which is a very cool touch. It is a feature most games I covered don't have. Now, as for the issues, there are no remains for any of it. You just have the head or limb vanish in thin air. And it can activate from quite a distance too. Well, even if it was from a very close range, realistically, would a head or a limb be removed clean off with just a single shot? At least for the latter, according to a well-known black metal album cover, the answer is probably a no. Anyway, it isn't a feature you'll be seeing a lot of. I only had it activate for the shotgun, but to have it deliver the really heavy, weighty, nasty and appropriate feedback, it needs a lot more work. The wound aspect though is much better. This clip is actually a pretty good showcase of what we have. So, on armor, you have only a hole and the blood will soak on the clothes below. On clothes you have a hole with a good amount of blood soaking around it. The soaking, by the way, would take quite a lot of time to reach the full size, which is appropriate and is something pretty much no game does. Also, on the very initial impact, you will be seeing some splats still, which might get covered up by the soaking. Very cool bit of detail as well. Alright, back to our demonstration guy. For hits on flesh, head, neck, arms, shirtless characters, the response will be more of a splatter. On flesh there is also a deformation factor. When you have just 1 or 2 hits, it does look quite nice. I think on the flesh hits the splatter could be milder, but other than that the looks are seriously good, the feedback will be exceptional, and for me, Ready or Not is one of the go-to examples for great wound functionality in Unreal Engine without going to the Dead Island 2 lengths. As for the issues, there are no exit wounds, which is kind of strange, could be a performance conservation thing. There is a weird issue with deformation now, with a strange object spawning which wasn't there before. On the face, if you try testing deformation repeatedly, it will look like bloating, kind of going into a horror game category. Some accessories won't be responding, which can look odd. And the other ones are basically in the bug field. Bulletproof teeth prosthetics, no holes on some vests, blood on other vests, and so on. For the most part, the functionality will be exceptionally good, but as you can see, some things still need to be ironed out. A way to support the channel is the Biała Konienka artwork store, and the featured painting in this video is the Volkswagen Beetle. It is the second classic car we'll have more in this theme soon, and it is an absolutely iconic model. We have prints as well as mugs, so that is a way to get cool art painted by my mom. I'll personally be shipping it to you, and if you want to get something adorable from the Gore guy on YouTube, we have that as an option too. The links are in the description. As for the blood spilling, I'll begin with the response stains. The looks are quite nice. If the character was shot close to the surface, you'll see blood running down. And for headshots, you have brain chunks there as well. You will be seeing blood trails for arterial hits and for dismemberment. The looks here are not particularly great, but they do get the job done. And lastly, you will have blood pools for the fatal hits. The looks here are an issue. You have just a basic circular pattern. It is alright for very simple feedback, but we have seen the difference good blood puddles can make, especially with an example like The Last of Us. And for this game, that style would be a perfect fit. As for more issues and feedback, the response stains will always appear on the surface behind the exit wound, even if that surface is very far away. Brain chunks will appear only around that stain. If a character was too far, you just won't have any brain chunks. There are no puddles for incapacitation, not even small ones. The character got some new ventilation holes through him, yet the environment will be entirely clean. And for some reason, you won't have stains on cars. It is a pretty common backstop, so that will be noticeable. Now as for the aftermath, as far as I can see, absolutely everything stays by default. The stains, the wounds, the puddles, the brain chunks. Even the bloody shell castings will stay, which is seriously cool. The only mass optimization measures that I saw was the dismembering arterial trail not appearing if you cause it from far away, and possibly the lack of exit wounds is that too. The standard, in my opinion, is having the aftermath be configurable. Having everything always stay by default is awesome, and that can't be taken for granted. As for the animations, what you have is responses on impact, animations followed by death or incapacitation, and, a cool touch, characters can play dead. At the moment I am recording this commentary, the death animations are broken. I'll refer to what I have recorded from before the first hotfix. So, I have to say, the animations vary between kinda questionable ones to absolutely excellent. Seriously, some of those are great. But, as you can see, we have one notable issue. They are all very short. The longer ones last about 5 seconds. So, I really hope that what was introduced in update 1.0 is not the final state of the animation responses, because this aspect is what I think needs enhancement the most, along with the appropriate bleeding effects for each situation. To deliver the gritty feel they are going for, a variety of possible reactions and behaviors for taking hits is needed. Some of the new animations we have are very much in the right direction, but rather than being a lengthy, injured behavior for the character, they end in about 3, 4, 5 seconds. So kind of like they are going there, but just scratching the surface. What I mean is, visibly injured behaviors for characters who are still able to stand, whether they fight or flee, several animations for incapacitation, at the moment there is nothing, characters who would still attempt to fight even in a down state, maybe crawling to reach their gun, maybe going for a pistol, whether doing it immediately or a little later if left uncuffed, perhaps having some ground branch style active ragdolls, not for every kill but as a part of the arsenal of responses. Animations for downed SWAT characters too. And, as I mentioned, the appropriate bleeding for all of those animations. So, a severely injured character fleeing and bleeding all over the place, downed characters moving around on the floor, leaving smeared stains, and an overgrowth style response for the throat hits, active ragdolls and very nice arterial spurting staining patterns. In conclusion, I think in terms of delivering a decent response in every aspect, a few holes aside, we largely do have it even in the current state. Also, we have an exceptional wound functionality and full aftermath. But to really get there and deliver the feel they're going for, more work is needed in the animations and the blood spinning aspects. Those two really should come together. If you have nice looking blood trails for the injured characters but the character himself will look entirely indifferent to any damage he took every time, it won't have the right impact. As for dismemberment, in my opinion, it is entirely optional. If done right, if it is realistic, yeah, I think it could have a seriously impactful, gnarly effect, but I think animations and spinning are what should be the priority in the response aspect. Now a few points of feedback go aside. Being forced to find evidence to complete a mission is a major annoyance. If you happen to come across it, great, get some bonus points, but it shouldn't be a condition to complete it. It could use some variety of who can be a suspect. Aside from the main perpetrators, I'm talking about characters who could be accomplices. You have it to some degree in the hospital with the nurse guys and I mean expanding this feature. In every level, maybe there is an accomplice, maybe there are multiple and maybe there are none. Having almost any NPC potentially be hostile, so even when you are interacting with a seemingly unarmed character, you won't really always know what to expect. And, kind of a minor one but can get your character killed, raising the gun up automatically when you are close to a surface. In the big picture though, I've massively enjoyed it. I think it is very much on the way to being the proper SWAT 4 successor. There are some areas that do need fixing, we're still waiting for the VIP escort mode, but overall, I think it is very close to getting there. That is it for today, do let me know how you feel in the comment section, and subscribe for more content coming your way soon. Until next time!